we talk a lot on this show about things like She-Hulk, where you feel like it wasn't really edited or it wasn't really written. It was launched into production and released before anybody knew what was going on, you know.
Yes.
But there's a quantity thing happening with streaming platforms. Everybody's just, they got more money. They've never had more money, and they've never had more reason to produce things. It's like the opposite problem that Hollywood has ever had, you know. And so they're just rushing a lot of content out. And James Gunn, who, hey, like, say what you will about the guy, he knows how to make a good movie. Yeah, the only chink in his armor for me is Peacemaker. I just don't think Peacemaker is strong at all.
Yeah, but everyone loved it, much like She-Hulk.
Yeah, it did really well. Whereas the Suicide Squad like kind of bombed because of COVID. But maybe he was able to redeem it with Peacemaker. That's good for him, if so.
Yeah, everyone loves that beginning dance number.
Do you really want to taste it?
It is good. I watched it every time.
Yeah, I didn't skip it. So this is from fandomwire.com. The article is titled, "It aggravates me to no end. James Gunn blames unprepared directors for failure of big budget movies. Fans say it's a subtle dig at Taika Waititi for ruining Thor: Love and Thunder." I read it, and first of all, he doesn't strike me as the kind of person that would do that. And second of all, the comments could be easily applied to just about anybody. So in an interview, somebody asked him, "At what point in your career did you learn to relax and delegate to the experts you helped hire to make your movies? So many directors seem to struggle with this." And his answer I thought was very good. "I'm not sure relaxing and directing are congruous terms.
Yeah.
But as I've grown, I've
just have fun with it, man."
Yeah. Just show up. Kevin Smith is like, "I show up and bring donuts to everybody. And I make everybody have a chuckle while they are trying to work." But as I've grown, I've gained more and more people around me I trust. Like my first AD, Lars Winther, my costume designer, Judiana Markovsky. To various degrees, I delegate to people I trust while I also overseeing and guiding. Directing is a privilege. We are so lucky to do it, and there are so many talented people who want to do it. Seeing directors who aren't grateful for that opportunity and respectful toward the talent and hard work of those around them pisses me off to no end. If you saw how disorganized most productions are and how unfinished most scripts are on big movies as they start shooting, the number one reason for the deteriorating quality of feature films, in my opinion, you'd see why usually this isn't an option. I'd say after shooting with unfinished scripts, unprepared directors are the number 2 issue. It aggravates me to no end that so many directors, not most, but many, squander people's time, money, and talent by walking onto a set not knowing where they're going to put the camera. Does that not strike you as true?
Yeah. Well, it's like, it was like Rise of Skywalker, where there's like, they had variations on the script. They were going on they were still making it in the edit. Matt Smith is gone. It's like, it just feels like a little bit of chaos and they're just running through it. And it's like, that's a lot of productions.
I feel like whenever we're critiquing like this kind of decline in quality, I think we're talking about this. I think we're talking about like, because we often will talk about unmotivated camera motion, or we'll talk about it looked like they kind of invented this in post, or it looks like they didn't really have a vision for how this would be edited, or they didn't really think this character through. It's like an unfinished script that you start shooting, and a director that shows up to set hoping to figure it out on the day. Or who's leaving it up to improvisation or whatever else. I see that in the finished products. I see it. Now we've been accused by our friends of like, well, you guys make movies, so you can spot this stuff. You have an eye for this stuff. We don't have an eye for this stuff, so we don't notice it. Which like maybe is fair, but sometimes it makes me feel like I'm crazy, like I'm seeing stuff, and
I wouldn't say necessarily, because I've seen the audience scores and the reviews for a lot of this stuff. I think normal people are like, I don't get it. I think it does come through in some respect.
Like, I don't expect the average person to be able to identify, like, I don't think they did their homework before they made this movie. But I do expect the average person to be able to kind of like recognize that something is not, like, the package is not complete somehow.
Yeah, and maybe they do come out of it being, oh, that was good, and then they forget about it, and then they can't even recall anything about it. I think that would be the other unspoken review of it, you know?
There's probably a lot of that. Like, where they're like, well, I didn't meditate on the movie for the next week like you assholes do. And so I had a visceral experience in the theater and then I left. And that's all I meant to do or whatever. But you think, I don't know, you think that the increase in home viewing would maybe make people scrutinize a little bit, or maybe scrutinize a little bit less, right? Because they're not paying big money. They didn't get a sitter that night to go out, and
maybe.
But the theater gives your movie a big advantage. It ought to.
Yeah, because you get your full attention, makes it sound the best, look the best it can be.
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon for full episodes every other week.